welcome to Veterans Serving Veterans. My name is Susan McGibbon, and I'm here tonight with a very good friend of NEVLH, Celeste Hernandez. And before we get into the show tonight, I want to remind folks of what we started with last week, and that is the City of Lawrence is trying to recognize veterans returning home from combat. If you know of someone, a family member, a neighbor, please contact Counselor Mark LaPlante or the Lawrence Veterans Service Agent, Jamie Melendez, or you can always give us a call at NEVLH. But we're really trying to identify veterans coming home. It's really important that we get these guys and gals recognized. But tonight, we are very fortunate to have a good friend of NEVLH with us, Celeste Hernandez. She has been volunteering with us for about a year now, but I want, before we even start, tell us a little bit about yourself, Celeste.
Hi, my name is Celeste Hernandez. I'm from Dominican Republic. I came to this country a few years ago, many years ago, and I met Sue through my therapist. She was working in another agency. She became my very good friend. And now through her and NEVLH, I have a space to run an AA meeting. Alcoholics Anonymous is a place who helped me stay clean and sober. I'm a recovering drug addict. I've been through a lot. And when I first met Susan, my husband died about 5 months earlier. I was in a lot of grief and a lot of pain. And she helped me a lot to complain to those pains. And she gave me a room for my AA meeting. And that's, I follow her everywhere she goes.
Well, let's back up a little bit. I mean, you kind of paint the story of your life with a kind of a broad brush, and I think for anyone who knows you the way that I do, with your husband, Lenny,
yes.
I mean, you were together a really long time, and you had a great relationship.
Yes.
And so I think just losing a spouse is horrible in itself. But I think, again, I'm going to go back to some conversations that you and I have had. You weren't really as active in your program as you needed to be. But I'm going to back up even further and say, tell us about Lenny. One of the things we've talked about was his military service.
Lenny was a wonderful man. He was a Marine, and he loved his country, very proud.
And those Marines stay Marines, don't they?
That's what he used to say. He said he wanted to be a Marine to the day he died.
Yeah, and he was. He was.
He was very proud. And he was a wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a very good man to me.
And so, as we've talked, yours was no normal loss. And at the time that we met, you were still reeling from the newness of losing him, but knew that you wanted to provide something for somebody. You wanted to reach out, and what you ultimately decided was to kind of do that with AA. Now, you talked a little bit about your own experience. Tell us how long.
I really not decided. You decided for me. Because when I came to the place that you used to work, when you tell me that I can help you, I told you that I was empty. I was in too much pain. I didn't have anything to offer. And you told me to just get into that room and show those people that I was human. And that's what I did.
And that would be enough.
And I keep going from that day on. And I talk fast, but that was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped me a lot with Lenny's death. And then in 2013, my mother died.
Mm-hmm.
And I used the same thing that you teach me.
Right.
To cope with my mother's death.
Right. It's enough to be human. And I think part of that is, I think the whole the whole premise in AA. I mean, there's a lot of folks who don't know what AA is and don't know about the supports, but I think we'll jump around a little bit and say, why is it that being a part of AA and an AA group helps you deal with your losses? I mean, the folks who don't know alcohol and drugs, addiction is loss. But how does that AA group experience, how did it help you through all those heavy losses?
Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety.
Right, right.
And when we, AA groups, we call it We Program, as long as I can help somebody else, at the same time I'm helping myself.
Right.
I go to commitments, I take the message,
Yeah.
AA. The group that we have right now in a village, in a place that we are right now, is an open meeting. We have an open meeting. This means that it's not meeting just for the veterans or just for alcoholic. You don't have to be an alcoholic to be there. Addiction is a disease that kills people every day. And we can stop drinking or using drugs
Right.
the AA way.
Well, I think the other thing that you talk about a lot is that is people don't realize that it really is a family disease. It may affect one person, but the effects of that go way past that person to the whole family. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
It is a family disease. When one person using, one person drinking, everybody else suffer.
Right.
In my case, I lost my family. I had 3 kids, and when I was active, none of them visit me or want nothing to do with me. Addiction robbed me from my dignity. I lost the respect for myself. I did it all. You name it, I did it to get my drugs or to get the next fix. I didn't care what I do. I just need the next fix.
It sounds like a funny question, but how do you know? How did you know? How does anybody know? One of the slogans I know is that there's pickles and there's cucumbers, and once you're a pickle, you can't go back to being a cucumber anymore. How do you know? How do you know?
Well, it's simple. We really don't accept it. But the point with this is that we crossed the invisible line that we're talking about, and now we don't control the alcohol anymore. The alcohol control us. See, because in the beginning we can stop. It's a switch. But when we cross the invisible line, the alcohol take control of us. It's like you say, once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. It's no more stopping. And they say in AA, the first drink gets you drunk. I didn't understand that before. Today I know, because the disease that we suffer from is a disease that affects us physical, mental, and spiritual. It's a disease that is compulsive and mental. And after you have one, you can't stop.
Okay, now you talked a little bit about the meeting at NEVLH is an open meeting, not just for veterans. Veterans are welcome, just as anybody else in the community. But I think to go even simpler than that is like, what is it that's so important about the meetings? I know you said that it was one of the ways your fellowship helped you get through a couple of really difficult losses. But meetings are slogans, and they're chips, and they're sponsors, and there's prayer, and there's a higher power. I guess I would ask you a 2-part question. Why is all of that so important? It's not just about isolation. And the other part is that, is there a time, when you're cured, is there a time when you don't have to keep coming? What?
It's no cure. That's the first thing. We suffer from the disease. They have none cure. That's what I said before. Once a drug addict, always a drug addict. So like I'm diabetic, I use insulin. So I'm a drug addict, I go to meetings on a daily basis. I use drugs on a daily basis.
Right.
So I go to meeting on a daily basis. The slogans that we have apply to us. Like the first thing first. First thing is my recovery. Without my recovery, I cannot be a mom. Without my recovery, I cannot be a grandma. Because I tried it before. I wasn't a mother for my kids. But by the grace of God, today, I am a grandmother to my granddaughters.
And I think that, what's interesting about that is that somebody told me a long time ago, the first thing you put in the way of a meeting is the first thing you'll lose. And so I think that's what you're talking about. You weren't the kind of mom you wanted to be, but by that time you knew the grandmother that you wanted to be. And so that's the first thing you put in your life, and it makes everything else work. But, again, to go to, sponsors and chips and signs and slogans, how important is that to the whole AA, experience? I mean, I know that the slogans, they can either be encouragement or they can actually be science. They can be medical science. One drink is, too many and 1,000's not enough. I mean, I know that's based on brain chemistry. But, the, one day at a time or keep it simple. Really, why are those so important to what AA is?
It's, especially the one day at a time. It's very important because that's the way we start drinking, one day at a time. We have a 24 hours program. We don't worry about yesterday. We don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow is not here yet. And yesterday is gone. We worry about today.
Right
It's
now.
a 24 hours program.
Right.
And that's why we use those chips. The most important chip at all is the 24 hours. And a sponsorship, you was talking about it?
Yeah.
A sponsorship is a person that they guide you through the steps because we do work with steps in tradition. We got rules.
Right.
One of the things that we have to do when we got there, that's something that we must do. We must change. Because what we're doing, what we're using, and we're getting drunk, we lie, we cheat, we steal, we do it all. So when we come to AA, the steps and the sponsorship help us to change and become the person that I am today. Because, we talk to people in the meetings. Addicts and alcoholic, we start getting clean up from inside out. But we don't dump everything in the meetings. We have that sponsor that we have one-on-one. So that, that's why we have the sponsorship.
And I know that what you've tried to do a lot is not just go on commitments, but to also do other community service to the hospitals in the area or to the COC, the Office of Community Corrections. Why? I mean, why is that important? Because sometimes you go as an AA person and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you go as Celeste. I'm just curious why.
Because that's our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics achieve sobriety. See, what I have today, they give it to me free. So today, I'm going to give it back, what they're giving me. That's why I'm going to OCC twice a month. That's why I go to Holy Family. That's why I go to Ballpay once a month. And that's a commitment that I do on my own. I don't drive, so you know that. But I always get a speaker who got the car. Because I remember when I used to use drugs, I always found a way to go and get it. Raining, snowing, I always get it. I always get home with it. I'm soaking wet, but my stuff was dry.
Right.
So I do exactly the same thing in the program. Because an old timer told me long time ago, Celeste, If you put half the energy in the program that you put to when you was getting
Using
high,
drugs.
you will make it.
And so, do you have the same message wherever you go? I mean, is it the same message at the Office of Community Corrections as it is at Baldpate, as it is at Holy Family? I mean,
What I do, I tell them my story. I do what we call in experience, strength, and hope. I tell them how it was, how I'm doing it, how I did it, and what I expect from the future. Hope. Because hope is something that when the person is active, we don't have hope.
talk about that. Why?
I want to tell you about me. I remember, I can tell you, Sue, from 1982 to 1989, I don't remember what I did all those 7 years. I work, I get high. I don't remember going to the movie. I don't remember go to a restaurant and have a nice meal. I just go to work, make money, buy drugs. I stay in my apartment. And I didn't know, I believed that I wasn't like then because I have my apartment.
Sure.
But I didn't remember that I owe the 3 months, I'm 3 months behind my rent. But I have an apartment because I settled for less. We had no hope. When I have my drugs, I don't need nobody. I don't need a man in my bed. I don't need nothing.
Right, you have what you need.
I
And-
have what I need. I settle for less.
And I think, is that maybe why AA makes a good traveling show, is that you don't have to switch it up, but the message is always the same. But I guess, how is it that you, when somebody comes into a meeting, say they're court ordered, because that often happens, is there anything you can do that's special or different to try to reach that person, or are they just going to have to walk the walk until they hear what they have to hear? I mean, how do you handle that new guy coming in the door who
We
thinks he's a
handle-
little bit smarter than
we
everybody
have,
else?
we have, I handle different. I talk to them when they come. Like I tell them, we believe in a higher power in AA. So like I told them, you already have a higher power. The court is your higher power. So, and I talk to them, I explain to them, especially when they are so young, not to get in trouble again, not to let it get caught again. Because, and I talk to them, most of the time I even give them my number to those guys. And I know a lady anyway, and I tell them, call me before you drink. Because sometimes what they need is a friendly voice and a phone, a friendly hand,
Someone who cares.
somebody who cares.
And I think that was one of the things that, I would say in my experience all over the city, is that so many of the folks are already, to us, it would seem, at the bottom. Their families might have already turned their back on them. They might have already lost their job. They probably lost their license and or car a long time ago. They've really got nothing and nowhere to go. And I think at that point in time, there's no reason to stop using. You're at the bottom. There's no reason. You're just trying to forget. You're trying not to feel. You're trying to do everything you can to just not feel. And it's always interesting, because I've seen you do it, how you kind of meet that person coming in the door and holding their hope for them. And I think it's more than a friendly voice. There are lots of friendly voices they can listen to, but they need somebody who's walked the walk and talked the talk.
I showed it away.
Right, and I think, that's so important. And we've been very fortunate to have you, at NEVLH do that, but I think your volunteering and your sense of community goes far beyond that. And I was just thinking when we were coming over here, I was thinking about the retreat that you had gone on. I know that that was a really huge experience in your life, and just wanted to know if you want to share a little bit about that, because that was a real honor for you.
Yes, there was. That was that changed my life in a spiritual way.
Sure.
Because our program is not religious; we are spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a retreat where the Colin Cursillo.
Mm-hmm.
They were sponsored by someone that I even don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone that knows me in AA. The retreat cost $150, and to today I don't know who paid for it. I just know that somebody wants me to go, and I experienced the most beautiful experience of my life. I had it in there.
How many people were there?
It was a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
There was 8 tables with 9 women each.
Mm-hmm. So it was only women, and you had to be invited to go. Someone paid your way. So what do you think about that?
I have people who cares about me.
Yeah. But that's
Like
not always.
you.
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. She's my queen. I absolutely do care about you, but I think that speaks to exactly why we're sitting here today. That wasn't always the case, and you just were lucky enough to see a granddaughter born and realize what she meant to you, and to grab onto that. And I'm just going to speak very selfishly for a minute, is that that's what you offer people Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, civilians or veterans. That's what you offer them. You offer them hope and acceptance in a very non-judgmental way. And I think that that's not easy to find. I know, there's meetings that you can go to and you're not really comfortable. They don't feel like home. But I've yet to see anybody go to one of those meetings at 599 Canal and want for anything more, because you bring so many years of experience to the table. But I think that your experience is so personal and so easily applied to anyone's life. It was about the job, it was about the quality of your life, it was about your family relationships, and I think that that's huge. And I think that when you talk about being invited to a wonderful experience like that and coming out on the other side, and there was even an honor the last day. You're being modest. Tell us.
The last day of the Cursillo was on a Sunday. I had 2 kids here. They live in Lawrence, and they were there. My granddaughters and my great-grandkids were there. It touched me because I never was in my daughter's life. I never was in my kids' life. When my granddaughter born, I decided that I'm going to do no drugs anymore, because I'm going to take care of my granddaughter. My granddaughter going to be 26 years old October 31st, and I'm going to be 25. And one of the things that I'm going to take to my grave and the joy, I'm never going to forget that day, that Sunday, when I see my daughter, my son, my 2 granddaughters, and my 3 great-grandchildren waiting for me to leave that place. I'm never, ever going to forget that.
And that's what you need to remember. That's.
I had letters from Sue that was in.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know if she was away that weekend, and I got the letters from her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a really moving experience. It would be great to think that. But before we need to run, I wanted to talk to you a little bit too about. I know that one of the fears when someone goes into AA is that their life is going to stop. You know, they're going to have to change all their friends and where they go. But there really are quite a lot of events that are sponsored by AA and AA groups. I mean, dances and campouts. You've done some of that. Speak to that. I mean, is it fun?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, but I know you've gone on a camp out. I know you've gone to
We
you know
go in
other
every year.
things. Yeah, for young people too. I mean, is it just? I mean, we're not. You know, we're past our days where we're going to go on motorcycle rides. But there's motorcycle rides. There's dances. There's. Tell me about your experiences with that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much fun sober people have. We have 3 days camp out on July every year. We have we go to a beach. We have cookouts. We have dances.
Yeah, and I know that on holidays
Yeah,
they try to schedule alkathons so that if you're having a tough time getting through the holidays.
on Thanksgivings and Christmas, we got the hackathon. They're going to be meetings 24 hours. We got anniversaries every time one of the groups reaches a year. We got anniversaries. Every time one of the guys or one of the ladies reach a year, we call it anniversaries. We bake a cake for that person. We get a medallion for that person. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun being sober. A lot of people believe because we're not drinking. No, we have a lot of fun.
But it's even true, you know, for young people's groups. I mean, they have them on
yes.
college campuses and in high schools, and there's a whole cadre of services specifically for young folks. And again, before we wrap up, just one other thing, and this is something I know that folks struggle with, but it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program. Talk about higher power.
We believe in a higher power. When I first came to AA, I had a higher power. Cocaine was my higher power. Cocaine tell me what to do it. How to be doing it. She was my master. So I need something bigger than her to continue living without her. So I always believe in God, and I choose to call my higher power God. But like I was telling you about the steps, we believe in a God that's our understanding. See, you don't have to believe in my God or his God or that God. It is you, God. If you believe that chair is bigger than yourself, so let it be. When I first come in around, I use my granddaughter for higher power. As long as we believe there's something greater than ourselves, that is the only thing they have to be. Something greater than ourselves. That's a higher power.
Celeste, I can't say thank you enough. You have been such a good friend to NEVLH and such a good friend to every addict that crosses your path, and you've been a very good friend to me. So it was such a treat to hear you say yes, that you'd come on. And I would just tell everyone, remind folks about when the meetings are.
The meetings are Mondays to Fridays, 12 to 1. And you're all welcome.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on A Veteran Serving Veteran. I'm Susan McGibbon here with Celeste Hernandez. Thank you.